My name is Jelly. Wait, no, I'm not Jelly. My name is Penbu, and I am the programming, puzzle gaming, and music making VTuber on Linux. And today is programming for once. It's been a while since the last programming stream. Was about a month ago now, actually, and it's because it's a lot harder to come up with programming ideas than it is to come up with the other ones, but we have something today, and it is creating an esoteric programming language. To address some of the stuff in chat there, delay is pretty long. I guess it's YouTube, because I do have it on low latency, and usually that's about 2 to 4 seconds, something like that. But yeah, I did notice there was a little bit of a delay. And speaking of delays, sorry about the delay for the start of this one. I was cooking and it took a lot longer than I expected it to. Spaghetti with, I think it was bratwurst sausage. So Italian pasta with German sausage is an interesting combination. Yeah, I do have DVR on, so that could be part of it. DVR allows you to, if you end up pausing it accidentally, you'll stay where you are and then you'll be behind for the entire stream until you fast forward. Carbonara sounds pretty good. Anyway, a stream thumbnail, which we made for back on Monday. And to give you a little bit of backstory to this language, it was back in September 1. Jelly Hoshiumi from Face Connect. Her catchphrase is awawa. She says that a lot. Because that is the alien language that she speaks. And she had mentioned something about the grammar of the language, where you can start with an A or a W, but you can't end with a W. And so it sounded like to me a recipe for an esoteric language. And the easiest one to make is a BF variant. And if you're not familiar with that language, it contains these 8 symbols. Register right, left, or pointer right, left, increments, decrements, outputs, inputs, and then your loop constructs. And I don't actually have a... No, wait, I do, because I have it here. So, Hello World is pretty verbose, because you have to do a lot of low-level stuff. Let's make that a little bit bigger. You have to do a lot of low-level operation, because it is all low-level, right? A BF basically emulates a Turing machine. And if you're not familiar with a Turing machine, it's... You imagine you have a really long tape with a lot of cells in it. And on the tape you have symbols, and then you have a machine that interprets those symbols and then does some specified action based on the symbol. So either override it with a different symbol or move, or things like that. And that is actually enough to compute basically anything. Anything that is computable. And yeah, like I said, BF is one of the easiest ways to make an esoteric programming language, because all you have to do is substitute. But this doesn't look so great. And so I thought about it for a few more days, and I came up with something a little bit better, in my opinion. So it's no longer a trivial substitution, so it's no longer as easy to make into a language, or rather make an interpreter for it, which means we have to make our own, and that's what this is going to be. And so... Is that mapping different? Oh, it is, okay. So the idea is that the number of was corresponds to the number of times you repeat the character. And then you have this base mapping. And then for the loop constructs, I figured you may as well turn it into punctuation because it looks nice. So you have this hello world program from the esolang wiki, and it translates to this string here. And white space is mostly what do you call it? Optional, except in cases where it has to, where it's makes it not ambiguous. Do I want to attempt to say this? This is the program that's in the thumbnail, by the way. It's the Hello World program. I am not going to attempt that. Okay. I will not attempt that unless somebody sends me a tip to do so. Tips are available. I think there's a link in the description. Please don't. Okay, so what are we doing today? We're not actually going to be writing... So the idea was we would take this and transpile it to this, but I think we're going to go the other way around first. We're going to take this BF code and then transpile it to awa, or awafudge. Mostly because the grammar of this is easier, and I'm not actually familiar enough with the tools to be able to take this into this for now. So what we're going to be doing is there's this program called JSON, which is a port of Bison. And let's get Bison up on Wikipedia. Not this Bison. Technology. GNU Bison, which itself is based on or inspired by Yak. Yak is in here somewhere. Yeah, Yak, which itself is stands for yet another compiler. And by compiler, it means basically a parser generator. So it takes in all of these programs take in a definition of a grammar for a language, and then it spits out a program that parses that, and so you can do stuff with it. So we're going to be using JSON, which is the JavaScript version of it, because we want to be able to put this up on a website so that we can use it online for accessibility and whatnot, and also because my main language is JavaScript and derivatives. You have a user script that force enables DVR on streams even when it's disabled. I did not know that you could do that. I actually, for me, I use MPV generally to watch YouTube streams, and there you can pause and rewind and whatnot as well. It's basically the same thing as DVR, it's just with a nicer interface, in my opinion, because I don't want to have to use a browser. Okay, so where are we starting? I guess we're going to start with npm init. Call awafudge. This one, make it that. I'm going to change that later. Index.js. Sure, for now. I'm going to forego test against my better judgment. GitHub.com. Penbu vt awafudge. This doesn't exist yet. Get. Fill that in later. And I actually need the author. It's not ISU, should be MIT. But we can change that. I don't know what happened with this one. It used to be that if I'm in Tmux, it would automatically change the background to dark, but that stopped working after some time. I don't know why. So we're gonna change this to MIT, and then author is me. I'll leave it at that. I don't actually have an npm account, but at some point we'll do it. YouTube always returns a video you request. It's just a client-side restriction. Interesting. I guess that makes sense because all it is like a video stream, right? And then it's just a matter of whether you're caching it on at the beginning or not. You said background darkening or VMRC. Sometimes I actually work in light environments, so that's not really a thing for me. Or rather, that's not viable for me. Can I show off my MRC? If I can spell it right. I guess I don't have it. Or I did. Interesting. Usually it auto-detects it, but I guess not for this case. No, I do remember setting it somewhere. I might have an old version of my MRC. I used to I tried putting things in a .files repository at some point, but because I have multiple machines, not one of them is necessarily the canonical one. They're all different, so it became a little bit difficult to manage branching and whatnot, and it just I wouldn't say it wasn't worth it, but it became a bit of a hassle, and it just ended up becoming too much of a hassle. Okay, so we're gonna create source. I'm a little bit lost on what to do right now, but I want to create this because we're going to do both versions eventually. But right now we're going to do the VF2 awafudge. Store the .files centrally and split them by distro, which works well enough. I guess, yeah. Mine are all Arch, so I get it. Okay, so actually what complicated things for me is that I published my .files, which is probably a bit of a mistake. Because then it means that I have to scrub the files for things that I don't want publicized. Now, if I had an internal .files repository that's private, that's just for me, it probably would have worked out better. Right, and we probably want... I didn't need to go all the way up to here. This is a node project, so we're going to generate an ignore file. I have this genignore alias. Don't remember what it is. Genignore. Genignore? Is it not an alias? Oh, here it is. Yeah. It basically makes a call to the gitignore service and outputs it. Ichikayuno, thank you for coming. JP vtuber. Good morning. Ohayo gozaimasu. Yeah, my Japanese isn't so great, so hopefully my English isn't too bad either. Thank you, thank you. What was I doing? Right, so I was explaining genignore. Wanting to Ian VTuber friend? Absolutely. If you want to join the Discord, there is a link in the description if you'd like to come in and join us there. So yeah, the gitignore service, I don't even think about it anymore. I just do this and, you know, never mind about all the junk that's in here. It's just easy to do. We're gonna go back to this. And then we are going to write a JSON file. Now we're gonna have to figure out how to write a JSON file. So JSON uses a syntax called BNF, the Bacchus Naur form. That's why I have it here. It basically says this is some sort of symbol, and then this is what the symbol is defined as. And so if sample one would look something like, maybe we can find one here, bison. Oh, this is too small for you to read. Let me zoom in a little bit. I had an example here somewhere. For example, they have a calculator program here. These are symbols, your lexical grammar. This one we're probably going to skip because we probably don't need this. But then you have your language grammar, so we have at the top level one single symbol, and then your sub-symbols, or sub-expressions rather, and those end up, so you have E here as an expression, and can be either E plus E, with plus being the literal plus, E minus E, and so on and so forth, or it can be an expression in brackets, or a number, or E or pi, which is all defined up here too. So this, do any of you know anything about how to like grammars and like compilers and language and how to parse them? I took a course back in university about languages, and we went over this stuff, but it's been years. So hopefully I still remember how to do this kind of stuff. What we're working with is a context-free grammar, I think. So it's not something that can be matched with a regular expression, and the reason why it's context-free is because you have to have balanced parentheses, or balanced brackets in this case. So I guess we can start with a JSON file. Where's my set bg equals dark? Not JSON, I want JSON. I can type? Okay, there we go. Well, bare basics is better than nothing, so so if we remember, we have these 8 symbols, and all we have to do is match them. So I have a program, and this is defined as, okay, so we're gonna look at this and see how we create one of these. We have that, and then a colon, and then some stuff afterwards. Actually, I can close these now. So I have a program, and a program can have many things. Operations, sure, and ends with a semicolon. Okay, and hopefully that's actually, can I call this yak instead? Sure. If it can recognize yak, it should probably be able to recognize bison. So we should be okay. And then operations can be operations or empty. So it's customary to have a comment saying it's empty. So 0 or more, and then operations, operation. Maybe we call this expression or something. And so this grammar, when you write it, should be left recursive because of how it works. I can't remember all the details, but if you do a right recursive, it's a lot harder to parse. So you want to do it left recursive. So in this case, operations is on the left, that there. And an operation is either, well, what do we have here? So left shift, right shift. I don't remember if we can use hyphen, so I'm going to leave that off. Increments, decrements, or loop. And our loop is going to be compound. I'm going to move that over there. And so left shift is easy. That's going to be a literal little bracket like that. right shift, the same thing. Increment, that's a plus. Decrement, that's a minus. And then loop, I'm gonna move the loop up to the top because it's a compound. The loop is your literal brackets, but inside you have an operation. This is not quite right. This is operations. And I did need to get rid of all of those. Okay. So I think this sufficiently describes the grammar. And then we go down here. If it works, then it works, right? npx JSON, this one. And hopefully it'll just spit out something. Could not parse JSON grammar file. Why? So JSON has this thing, this checker somewhere in here. Custom scanners, tracking locations, sharing scope, longest rules, semantic actions. Was it in the other docs? I'm just going to zoom out a little bit so I can see more text here. Linter. It's kind of like a linter. It's more like a validator, actually. Python grammar files. Okay, so clearly this server is gone. Example is test parser, input file. Pattern matchers. When I was playing around with this back in September, I know there was something. Using special characters, negative look-aheads, Lux manual. We're not looking at Luxing. Extended BNF. I don't think that was it. Alright. Search engine time. JSON playground. See, this is all stuff that I was supposed to do before stream and check, but because I had cooked for too long, it didn't work out. We're gonna learn this all on stream. Right, okay, I forgot, because we put that up there. So now it should actually work. Or not. We're gonna put this into the playground and see what we get. Hello? Undefined. Can we get rid of everything else? Can we load one of these and see? Because we're also missing that. Okay. So JSON requires you to have these double % signs so that you to mark the start of the file or the start of the grammar portion. Okay, so this is valid. Good. Now we have a JavaScript file. Actually, I'm going to open that in here. Parser generated by JSON. I have not actually seen what this does. I also don't know what this thing outputs. I have a parser. Parser object the following structure. We have y, as that. And then the prototype has all of these stuff in here. We're going to play around with this in the REPL. Const parser equals require that. No, we need that. Because if you're requiring a rel or something in the file system, you have to make it a relative path. Okay, so we have this. Now what does this do? New parser.parser. So this is a constructor. But then what do we do with it? Trying to read more docs. I'll make that bigger so you can see. Using the generated parser. Once you have generated the parser and saved it, you no longer need JSON or any of the other dependencies. As demonstrated before, the parser can be used from the command line. Though more ideally, the parser will be a dependency of another module you required from another module like so. Okay, so we can actually just use the dot parser. And then we have dot parse as inputs, which means parser dot parser dot parse. We can parse this, and we get that. Why? Exec. No, I don't want to exec this thing. Oh, no, because that's a function. Never mind. Parser.parse. No, so this... Oh, wait a minute. No, we're missing a layer. So I assigned the result of require to parser with a capital P. That itself has a parser property. So if we go back to this, right, this is this one here. No, this is correct. Parser, parser, parse. Right, that's an actual function that has all this stuff in it. So it's possible that our grammar is incorrect. But let's parse nothing. Object prototype may only be an object or null undefined. Function.create. Parser.parse. So the parser object has a parse function too, though. So if we parser, so we have this, right? This is this object here, and it also has a parse. Yeah, it does have a parse function. Okay. So let's have a look to see what this does then. It might end up being the same thing. So parser.parser.parse parse.parse parser.parse false. Okay, so they are different. Actually, because this should be parse. Okay, so they are actually different. Okay, what do we have here? Or more succinctly, oh, you're right, because this does say that you can just use the parse function from there. So I guess they're equivalent, even if they might be different functions. But parser.parse and then some string. Object prototype may only be an object or null undefined. Function create parser parse. Well, we can have a look at what this is. 102. Yeah, sets up its own object for a one-shot or something. Normally, when you do these kinds of things, if you have a function, then what you might end up... Oh, actually, yeah, no, you're right, because parse here might be... It creates a parser, and then discards that afterwards, after running through the parse. Yeah, it could be doing that. We can't actually figure out what it's doing here. So parse is a function that returns that. Which I guess makes sense. It all depends on what this is. That's the giant function. So the parser is that. Okay, yeah, so it just reaches into the parser here. And then it does a parse, and then it does an apply. With this as this value and then the arguments of this function here. Okay. I don't know why they didn't just do a function.bind, but I guess this works too. Whatever. We're looking at 102. Lexer object.create this.lexer. Why? So this is in parse. Prototype may only be an object or null, and it is undefined. This .lexer is because we don't actually have a lexer. That might be problematic. I didn't think you needed a lexer in this file, but it looks like we might have to add one. So we might still need this, even if it has nothing. And then let's have a look. Still not quite the right. Not into JS enough to understand why or why not. I don't think this is necessarily JS. This is more like... So this .lexer is saying that there is no lexer property, or nothing assigned to the lexer property of this object. In which case of this object... Oh, the bind. So writing it in here. If I were to write this by hand, we have this exports.parse function. Alright, exports.parse is equal to bf.parse.bind. So this, I think, is actually equivalent. Basically what it does is that apply and bind both take this value as the first parameter. And bind, what that does is it binds this parameter to the function. So it returns this function, bf.parse, but with this value of that. And then any arguments that... so it just binds the function, and then any arguments that are passed to this function when you call it as parse gets forwarded to the bound function. In the case of the first one, what happens is there's a special value called arguments that is automatically populated with the arguments of the function, assuming that it's a function of this form. So you don't have to specify the parameters in the function body here, or the function header. They'll all get populated in this arguments object. Yeah, magic values. You don't see this getting used all that often anymore. Because in, I think it was ES6, ES 2015, you now have REST arguments. So normally you'd see people doing this instead with modern code. I guess it would be like that. But yeah. Before REST arguments, you would have to do something like this. But then again, you know, I don't know why you wouldn't do this in this case, but whatever. I wonder if bind was Muir. But okay, to try to figure out what's wrong with this, we still have this.lexer. It didn't error out when we tried determining what the... Oh, right, because I need a /lex. That makes sense. Maybe I need to actually read the docs. Once more. Could not parse JSON grammar. You have the language grammar, you have start expressions. Well, we'll find out one more time. Half of the stream is probably just going to be fighting with JSON and figuring out what it does. Maybe the compiler overrides args sometimes. Which compiler? Okay, so we're gonna find out where the documentation JSON to JS. Yeah, it's possible. Although, given that it looks like this, I suspect that it probably outputs this all the time. with the exception of changing this name here. So it could just be it was written at that time and it works, and you know, it's good enough. It's one of those things where the result is the same, and the you know, the difference is very minor and not worth arguing about. Okay, so we need to find out the documentation for this thing. Lexical analysis and then parsing, which the lex yak and flex bison combinations are famous for. JSON lets you specify a parser much like you would using bison/flex, with separate files for tokenization rules and for the language grammar, or with the tokenization rules embedded in the main grammar. And we get documentation on how to build this thing. Okay, no, at a basic level, you have this. So we don't need that. Which makes sense because it did path. So the other option is we don't use JSON and we just build the parser ourselves. I was kind of hoping not to do that. But if we have to fight with this more too much, then we might have to. Right, okay, and there was also this other thing where the ones that are terminal, I didn't need to do that. The ones that are terminal tend to be in uppercase. Can I get a pre-made bison definition? I did actually see one. Bison. Somebody has one. No, that's the file. Lex and yak. I want to deal with that. So this, they have the code in there. And one of the things that they have here is that you can actually embed codes into the lexer parser definition. I didn't want to do that. But also, this is me not knowing too much about how compilers are made in the real world. But it looks like it is possible. I'm gonna look for BNF. Because I remember I did see one of these. Wait, is it? Did I have it on my phone? I'm gonna check my phone quickly to see if I still have it. My stuff will load. In the meantime, how is everyone's day going? It's 8:30 here. Is it this one? Okay. I found something. It is a tab on my phone. Good thing I haven't cleared it yet. I just gotta get it to... Oh no, I can just search for the... Okay. It is... Was it this one? What is this page called? It is this one. Very good. 1:30. I didn't realize it was so late for you. But yeah, thanks for coming to the stream so late. There's this one. Right, we can just take this. Except I kind of don't want to because you know, licensing. But at the same time, this is basically what we wrote, right? That this is the grammar. And I think this is in Yak too, and not Bison. which I thought they were more or less equivalent, but I guess not quite. Yeah, I think it's just different syntax. The basic, like the basic, what do you call it? The words. The basic ideas behind it. It is a BNF, right? So you have your token or your symbol, and then what constitutes that symbol to the right of it. But it looks like this is missing some. Bigger. This is missing some syntax that JSON requires, like semicolons, mostly semicolons, and probably this, which I think this inherits from Bison. So you have, but the BNF that they've provided here is slightly different from what we've done too. So they have simple instruction, loop instruction, and it looks like a simple instruction here, and then you have instruction. This is right. This is right recursive. We want left recursive. Although in our case, you know, this is pretty simple. You just move this over there and swap these two. But otherwise, it's more or less the same as what we have. In terms of BNF, anyway. So, what are we doing with this? Why does this not work? So let's let's comment this out, and let's work with just a single symbol. Let's say minus. And of course, that doesn't work because multi-line comments don't nest. I hope the single line comments work though. Very good. So, require parser.parse with minus. Object prototype may only be an object or null undefined. 102, which is still the lexer. So this .lexer is oh, wait a minute. Do I need to say EOF? Do I need to say EOF somewhere? EOF is a special symbol, I think. Well, I shouldn't have to, because you look at this. Can I get something simple? Basic? No lexer. Just the basic. Yeah, there's no EOF here. Basic with error rule, basic with lexer. Don't care enough. Basic grammar contains a nullable A non-terminal. Where do you get X from? Oh, it's from here. Do we actually need a lexer? Starting to wonder if we need a lexer. Okay, so let's actually put some lexer rules here. And so this seems to be pretty easy. We just need to add some regular expressions. In our case, minus. We just return. What does that mean? Return plus. Okay. Well, let's just do that. Should be fine. Okay, so we return plus, and then in this case we have plus here. Let's see. Return minus. Actually, I want this to be minus. And the examples have semicolons, so I'm gonna add semicolons. Maybe no EOF. Okay, so now we have a lexer. Yeah, docs made it sound optional, but hold on, I can't read this bit. You know, this heart thing is in the way. I can't read that. But no clue what you would... I can't read. Why? Forget it. No clue what would make you want one. Yeah, so the thing with Elixir, the parser and Elixir, to be honest, I don't really know what the difference is, or I don't remember what the difference is. But from what I understand, I think Elixir is what reads in the character and then outputs some sort of symbol for the parser to understand. And then the parser will take the symbols and then turn them into an abstract syntax tree. And then from there, I guess the compiler can do whatever it wants with that. So the Elixir is what actually reads the text and then outputs symbols for the parser to consume, which makes sense in this case, because then it means that because we don't have Elixir, we haven't actually given anything for the parser to consume. I think I already did that. I need to require, and then there we go. Okay, very good. I don't know what that means. Why do we get true? How do you operate without Elixir then? Just always writing the exact symbols correctly. I think if you were to do this manually without JSON or Bison or whatever, sometimes you might actually just roll the Elixir and the parser into one. I think that's what I would have ended up doing. That what I have done in the past, because I have written an ad hoc parser for a file format before, and I didn't use this compiler. So yeah, you would basically be, what I did for that one is I took a lot of regular expressions and then turned that into a parser directives, I guess. So basically, you write Elixir. You can't not write one. But okay, so we have this. But then, what does that mean? What does it mean to parse like that? Because that returns a Boolean, and we want an abstract syntax tree. Right? Okay, what does this say? Using the parser from the web. Nope, that's not where we were. Using the generated parser. So once we've done it, we have parsed. Var 20 equals that. No, I want you to give me an abstract syntax tree, not give me an evaluator. Yeah, so exec says it parses that, and what this says, so the example here says that it basically it tries to evaluate what it actually is. So we go back to the calculator example in one of these tabs somewhere. All right, you load this calculator. It has Elixir rules, which tells you what to return when given a certain symbol or a sequence of symbols. And then you have this is association, sure. And then you have these things, which is embedded code that runs something, like the code that's in here. And this is actual JavaScript. We don't know what parse returns, so it could be, it could be an AST, right? I was hoping it's an AST, but apparently it isn't. Because it looks like, at least for this one, for the calculator example, this is running actual JavaScript code. But we do actually have, if we go back to our generated parser, we do have the prototype here. The symbols, productions, table, parse, error, parse, with Elixir. Elixir, parse, error, inputs. I'm hoping that we don't have to go into the Elixir to figure this out. So input doesn't have anything. We have less, next, lex. Yeah, I don't think we need to touch the lexer, because the parser should be the one to deal with that. Symbols. Okay. And then trace. No idea what that does. Sure. Probably in something internal. But what does YY do? Sounds less promising if we do, or does that have a different meaning in parser parlance? Does which... sorry, which sounds less promising? Or rather, which term are you talking about? Perform action? Default actions? Oh, less. Less. This one. I don't know what this does. In terms of the lexer, I think... Yeah, I'm not sure what this does. Yeah, I'm assuming the n here is a number for the number of things to... like number of characters to consume. But this is just me guessing. I was assuming calling the lexer less function would act like a pager for the output. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. We can actually take a look at what this does, because we have less here. Unput. Retains the first n characters of the match. I guess that makes sense. But yeah, less, the reason why less is called less on Unix is because there was a pager that came before it called more. And more obviously because they would only fit on one screen, and you want more like you want to see more output. But more isn't that great because all you have is more and you can't go back. And so the less being a pun on more was made to be a better like a better pager. I think the man page even says less is more. The joke, the opposite of more. No, I guess they don't have that. Okay. Okay, I was hoping that we wouldn't get stuck on this part. But like I said, half the stream could also just be figuring out how JSON works. Which is good time spent because the more time we figure it out on a known language, the less time we have to deal with doing it in awafudge. Parse. Can we get an AST, please? JSON includes a rather rudimentary scanner or generator. Any module that supports the basic scanner API can be used in its place. Start conditions. Do that stuff. Begin API is old, use push state instead. This is too low level, I don't need this. Don't have to use a built-in JSON lexical scanner. Object with less lex and set inputs. So parser.lexer, I guess is there so that if you want to change out the lexer for something else, you can. Sharing scope. Parsing algorithms, don't care. Lex patterns, also don't really care. Semantic actions, I don't want to be doing semantic actions. I want an AST. Or, because we are working in JavaScript, we can. But I don't know what I'd put in, because I want the AST so I can transform it into stuff. Because if this were a, what do you call it? A simple substitution, then I can see why how you would be able to do it with just JSON. But it isn't. And it's not like we have this. Actually, maybe we can. Maybe we can't. Because you can just push stuff, right? So if you push, for example, where does my... Alright, so it's inside. So if we do it for left, for all of these ones, for example. So let's just give it a try. Now double equal sign, or double dollar sign equals this. And we still need our semicolons. And then we do that for everything else. I am tempted to make a macro to make it a little bit easier, but I don't know if it's worth it. I'm gonna make one anyway. Save me 2 lines. Okay. Alright, so we're gonna try for left shift and right shift. And then maybe we'll get something. Expecting left shift, right shift, increment, decrement got minus. What does that mean? Am I missing something? Okay, so let me deal with this first. Let's put in the rest of the symbols. We need 8 or 7 of these. Just 7. Plus that. And this one. That one. This one. Dot. And then. Sure. Left shift, right shift. I guess we could. There's probably a parity probably a parity hidden in there. NPX. Try it again. What? What? Parse error on line 1. Expecting left shift, right shift increment. Because we got rid of this. Oh, right. So I changed the casing here without changing the casing here. Okay. Yeah, I think I might have been expecting the literal left shift. We still get true. Even after doing this, what do we need? Type of console is undefined, prints. Otherwise we'll return. I think we might have to fill in the rest of this. Okay. Well, we may as well copy this. Do we need an extra one? Maybe. And instead of $1, it's going to be $. I'm missing this one. Otherwise, operation, this is $, equals $1, $2. For now, let's make this an array, sure. Actually, $1 dot... I don't know how this works. Dot concat. Dot push, actually. This is JavaScript, right? $2. $1 dot push $2. And then with this one, surely not. $1. No, $2. It needs to be $2. So we're gonna represent loops as arrays in this one, just to see how it works. And then, so with this one, the operation, we have this. We probably don't need to deal with this. And then at the operation level, we have this. And at the end, at the very end, when we have empty. No, this is not correct, because we need operations EOF, so this actually needs to go up here. Yeah, that sounds right. Because at the very end is when we output everything. Okay, one more time. Parse error line 1 expecting EOF. Because we need to add EOF to here. Return the literal string EOF. Don't think we need this one anymore. Do this again. It said got one, so I think the $1 replacement isn't working. That is entirely possible. So let's see what we have here. Cannot read properties of undefined reading push. Because we need to initialize the array, I guess. Well, I mean, what is this? How do we get here? So we have an empty array. Console log this, print that, and return that, which is fine. So it could be that we need to put this in brackets. Did I save? Why are we getting ones? I can't search for one, because that's gonna give me too many results. I can search for this one, maybe. There are productions, yeah, action 1, length -1. Table arguments. Okay. Operations. So operations should be an array. What does parsing plus or something do? That is a good question. Let's try that. Still gets its ones. And we don't have... Forgot two symbols. S plus input is this, and output is the dots. All right, redo. I still expect to get ones though. Yeah, I still got ones. Put in a loop. Ah. Okay. Not a function. Why? Am I missing something? Should this not be... Because do we need to do that? Does this need to be a string? Okay, let's figure out what this $$ actually does though. Because I think we're using this wrong. We're now on single braces suffice. Shorthand syntax. Shorthand arrow syntax means this plus that. Accessing values and location information. Normally you'd have to use position corresponding terminal or non-terminal in the production, prefixed by $, for example this. You can also access the value using that. Now we need to know what the $sign means. Okay, go up to the top. Find the first example of $signs. Oh, this is the first example. I think we might need to go to Jice or the Bison. Bison docs for this one, because it is more or less the same, I think. Bison. Bison guide is properly ported for JSON. You can refer to it for major concepts. Bison. Because this the server is down. New Bison docs. Hello? Archive.org? HTTPS archive.org? Is your search down? Let's go with something a little bit older. Shouldn't have changed that much. So, outline of Bison grammar. We have this. Key declaration sections, symbols, terminals, recursive rules, finding language semantics, actions, $. If you don't specify an action for rule, Bison supplies the defaults $$ equals $1. The value of the first symbol of the rule becomes the value of the whole rule. Of course, the default rule is only valid if the two data types match. There is no meaningful default action for an empty rule. Every empty rule must have an explicit action unless the rule's value does not matter. Okay, sure. With $n, with n 0 or negative is allowed for reference to tokens and groupings in the stack before. But where do we get $? So $, as far as I can gather, is the semantic value of the grouping being constructed as $. Bison translates both of these constructs into array element references when it copies the actions into the parser file. Okay. Like the whole token, the equivalent of $1 to $N. I mean that's what I would think it would be, at least according to this. But it seems like, okay, so I think this is wrong then, because if it's $1, because if it's $1, then it's the array, right? Because for $$ in the array reference, you're not looking at actual symbols, you're looking at arrays. So actually, in this case, this doesn't matter too much. Which means if the default is $1, then this doesn't matter. Because that'll resolve by itself. And so... $$ then... So in theory, this is... should be correct. $1 then dot push. You have operations. $$ equals this thing here. That should initialize it, and then you have. Let's give this a try and see what happens. I don't think we've moved anywhere though. Let's start with the pluses first. Still get ones. Just making sure that we haven't gone anywhere. So the type of console is not equal undefined. So we're here because it is defined. And then you return this. That's probably why we get double ones. So if we just do this. And just return it. Then we might end up with something different. And we just get one of the ones. Let me turn on live chat on my end. npx JSON and node IE const p equals require. Yeah, I should probably do that. Let me do that. Thank you. What am I looking at? Oh, because I'm in node. Let's do that. Okay, so now we have it all loaded. So we can just use p. P equals 1. Okay. So it is because we had the double there. Now we return. Now we just get this. Which is fine. But then what? What does that get us? Why do we get a 1? Is that because this resolves to an index? Translates both these constructs into an array element references when it copies the actions into the parser file. The rule constructs an expression from two smaller expression groupings connected by a plus sign token. The action 1 and 3 refer to the semantic values of the two component expression groupings, so 1 and 2 there, which are the first and third symbols on the right hand, and you can't read that. First and third symbols on the right hand side of the rule, the sum is stored into $, so that it becomes the semantic value of the addition expression it just recognized by the rule. If there were a useful semantic value associated with a plus token, it could be referred to as $2. If you don't specify an action for a rule, Bison supplies a default $= $1. Thus, the value of the first symbol in the rule becomes the value of the whole rule. Of course, the default rule is only valid if the two data types match. There is no meaningful default action for an empty rule. We already know. N is 0 or negative allowed for references to tokens before it. As long as bar is only used in the fashion shown here, 0 is always refers to expression which precedes bar in the definition of foo. I don't know if we've learned anything. Actions mid-rule. It's occasionally useful to put an action in the middle of a rule. I don't think we need those for this one. Look ahead tokens, declarations, token type names, Operator precedence. Collection of value types, non-terminals. So there's an end rule, and we have this one. $1 being this one, $2 being this one. And then we have this. So why are we getting a 1 for that? Actually, you know what? This doesn't even help us. Because we need this to be... I'm going to undo all this because we actually do need this to be something else. Let's start with that. Maybe we can get something different. And I'm going to remove this. And I'm going to guess, actually, if we change this to, let's say, 4. We're just going to get 4 back every time. No matter what we have in here. Okay. So that's fine. If we end up with an empty, I'm hoping we get an empty array. We do get an empty array. What? Okay, let's look at that. No, we don't want the calculator example. I want something else. Lambda calculus. So this has it in the var. $var. YY text. YY text is a special value that was mentioned in here. No, I don't want that language. Can you tell me what this is? In order to have something decent to work with in your action code, every wildcard or non-wildcard group which is not unrolled will collect all of its terms values YY text as produced by Lexer and stored in an array, thus constructing a poor man's AST. Well, an AST is what we want. Well, what is that? So like $add after shifting in bash. Maybe. But every wildcard or non-wildcarded group. Okay, I am curious then. What happens if we do that? $$ push is not a function. $0 minus 1. Not exactly what we want. What if we just got rid of this? Of course. Wait a minute. Oh no, this makes sense because there's nothing there. And we haven't done anything here. You only end up with operations. Sort of. Alright. I don't think that's necessarily what we want. Big fat warning. EBNF. Alright, we're not working with EBNF right now. So extended BNF has some wildcard rules that could be useful. It might not be. We're not using them right now. Right, extended BNF. We are in the extended BNF section. We do not need to be there. Let's go back to the examples. I don't want anything as large as C. I don't want that. And the tab hanged because there's too much text. Nice. Stop the page. So get out of there. Okay. Unicode with includes Yaka recovery, mermaids, poor grammar. Okay, can I get rid of you? Yes, okay. Very good. Happy, happy, joy, joy. Parser based on the song of the same name, inspired by true events. I'm sure it is. This doesn't even have a lexer. Oh, no, it does. It's skip white space. Return happy, return joy, and return EOF. Ensure word boundaries don't matter. Okay. Start expressions. Okay, so well, actually this is useful because this allows us to skip anything that is not one of the 8 symbols. But we're going to leave that off for now. eBNF is used in order to give us syntax goodies like plus and star repeaters with groups. Okay, so this is just a simple return 1. What do we do that? We return 1. Okay, that's not enough. Is equal to 1 plus text. This is eBNF, so that's why it's doing that. Join. Oh, wait a minute. I wonder if we can just do it completely in this. We might be able to. We might be able to write the entirety of awafudge in this. Okay, so we're gonna change this actually. Actually, no, we need to figure out why this isn't working first before we do that. But I think we might be able to just write the entire file through this. We gotta figure out what's wrong with this first. What if we don't do this? What if it's just 1, 2. Okay. Well, that's getting somewhere. This is what I would expect it to do. Oh. Oh. No, this is user error. So. I don't know how many of you know JavaScript here. But array.prototype.push. Guess what it returns? It returns the new length property of the object. So in this case, yeah. So in this case, what happens is we have an empty array here, and then we push 1, and now there's 1 element in here. I don't know why we weren't getting more than that though. But that means that $sign or $$ ends up being 1. Okay, so it ends up being 1 in the first one, and then you get a push. Then you attempt to push another thing and it doesn't work. Oh, I don't know why this doesn't, why this didn't error out, but okay. Yeah, $1 got pushed $2, which is fine. And then I guess we can do, $1. Yeah. I don't know how much we need actually to, maybe I don't have to resort to this, this weird syntax there, but give it a try. So now I expect it to have an array of symbols. Very good. Very good. And that's what we have here. Now I'm just going to pretend that's a thing. And then here I expect that we have arrays inside of arrays. All right. Well, let's just try to get that to expand a little bit more. Okay. Is that what we expect? But I think that's too many arrays, isn't it? Well, yeah, we're getting a double array there, which is not what we want. Because it already is an array, so we don't need to do that. Alright, that's exactly what we want. Now we're just going to commit things while things are still okay. What is this one? Why is this no ELL? Oh, it's no ELL for that one. Okay. I don't know if we should commit this, but I also haven't set up a script to generate this, so for now I think we're okay. I can always remove it later. This is parse. It's not a real good parsing though. BNF grammar for sure, whatever. Okay, so if we want to turn this into awafudge, we go back to, we gotta find this message here so I can put it in text. Awafudge. We're going to face Discord again. We have this mapping here. And so what we can do is that we can, instead of doing left shift, right shift, increment, decrement, and all that, we can turn them into compounds. And we can say left shifts is left shifts and then one left shift. And then similarly for all the other ones, but we're going to start with this one, just so we know it works. Maybe we'll start with the pluses first, because it's a little bit simpler to do. Right shift. Not right shift, I need increments with an S. Hello? Whatever. Oh right, because it didn't match. That's why. Okay, so we have an increment. Increments. And then this can be nothing. Um, $dollar equals it starts with an A. And this $dollar is equal to $1 plus wa. Because every instance gets a wa. But it starts with an A here. Let's collapse this. And we make sure that we have this. Could not parse JSON grammar, because of course we're missing something. Because I need that. Conflict in grammar. Multiple actions possible in look-ahead token is EOF in state 2. So we know that it has something to do with this one, because this one was the one that we just added. And it's saying that something's ambiguous. What if we move this around? And so the empty is at the end. It's not going to change anything. It's still ambiguous. Why is it ambiguous? So increments is left recursive. Can either be recursive here plus an increment, or it can be empty. Why are you ambiguous? Conflict in grammar. Multiple actions possible in look-ahead token is EOF in state 2. Reduced by rule increments. Oh, because it can't be empty. Minor workflow improvements if I notify. I guess I can try this one out. There is a node tool called NodeMon, which I usually use for that, but me close write while redo. Okay, this one seems good enough. No, but I mean, this doesn't really help because I still need to restart the repo for it to pick up my changes. Node doesn't actually Node doesn't. So if you change the file on disk, it's not going to pick it up because it's cached. The require. So you do need to re-require the file, but you can't just re-require the file because it's cached. So you have to clear the cache and then re-require it, which in most cases is what you want. But for development and rapid loops, it definitely is a little bit inconvenient. Okay, so let's just try this again. So now we have fewer conflicts, which is good. Multiple actions possible in look ahead is plus in state 7, reduced by rule operations increments, diff token. How do you do this +1? Surely we can't do the right recursive solution, because that can't be good. No, really? Why are you allowing right recursive Alright, fine. In which case, this is $$ equals plus $1 plus nothing. This is wa plus $2. We're building a string where you have the wa from the increments I guess we don't need it there. So this is just $1, $2. And all of these are actually was. Except for this one. So all of these 4 are was. $1, $2, and then you have $2 here. Actually, let's leave this one for now, but let's work on increments. Do it again. So if our increments are pluses, then we should expect an awa here. Expecting plus got EOF. Parse error on line 1. Expected plus. Am I missing an EOF somewhere? What? So you have this. Expecting plus got EOF. Parse error, parse of this. Uncaught. Parse error line 1. It caught it at the end of the EOF, so it parsed this correctly. Ah, because I don't have an empty, I was expecting more. This was infinite. So I still need empty. But I also need the right recursive form. Okay, this was what I was expecting. It can't be right recursive. Maybe this will work. No, it's still ambiguous because it has to be left recursive, but I think we tried this earlier. Okay, can we do EBNF? Maybe that'll just work. Okay, I'll take it. Zero one is not defined. Okay, so how do we use this eBNF stuff? eBNF is accepted by the JSON grammar engine transposed to BNF grammar using equivalent transformations of each. For the wildcards, you have this. And then you have this. Oh, okay. I think we need to turn that into one of those. Can you tell me how to use this, please? Okay. We had an example that was using eBNF. Was it this one? No, it was not this one. It was... Maybe it assumes you know how to works in Bison. I mean, most of the Bison docs should be applicable. but I don't know if Bison supports eBNF. Extended BNF? Doesn't say that. But even then, right, like this is just basic BNF stuff. You should be able to, like, even if you don't have eBNF, you should be able to write a grammar that that can describe it, right? Because eBNF is just a convenience over over BNF. It just means that, say, for 0 or more, you don't have to do this kind of stuff. You can just do the star. So you have increments. And it's because you have an empty here? Is that why you can't do it? I can't, so we have increments here. Because I don't see a reason why this shouldn't work. Oh, right, because we need this for sure. When look ahead token is state 2. There's a problem here because we have 2 empties here. So this is where we go on BNF recursive 0 or more. And also look at eBNF star operator. $1200s, concatenation, comments, Pascal, advantages over BNF, repetition symbol, extensibility, recursion, it's a value, or the value plus that, or the value plus that. Recursive specification is a specification in which the non-terminal appears recursively in the production rules. Take a look at the following grammar, which is a recursive specification that contains all of these and uses BNF notation. Non-terminal, which use LHS colon equals, which I don't think really applies in this case. Also in production, on the right-hand side, a so-called recursive BNF notation. I don't think that helps. But we do increment star and then figure out how to combine them, which was in one of these. I'm gonna move this over here. Actually, I'm gonna pin this. I'm gonna pin this one too. Right, it was happy joy joy. That's where it was. Where we saw it. $1 phrase. Phrase is this. 1 2 3 4 dot join. Phrase plus is joy is $1 plus YY text. Okay, so I think we actually just end up with $1. Which is, in this case, that. We want this to be a plus. Now we can get rid of this. Maybe that'll work. Look at that. Not quite what we want. But it's close. So the expected output here is we got 1 token with and then 1 2 3 4 5 6 was. Yeah, there's definitely a Naruto don't moment. But okay, so how do we do this? X1, X2 at $. Okay. Maybe we need the @ sign instead. I'm just putting symbols here. I don't know what it does. Okay, that's not what we want. But maybe we want the $@ here. And then $1 here. Bison manual name references actions location. Left, right. Okay. Normally you'd have to... Typo. Normally you'd have to use the position of the corresponding non-terminal or terminal in the production, prefixed by a $, like so. Now you can access the value by using the name of the non-terminal. Sure. The rule is ambiguous. You can do it by numbers. Also works for accessing location information when we get to the EBNF section. Did this ever tell us how it allows labeling the wildcarded group such as an alias, which might keep things more readable? Okay. So I don't think we need to do this. But I guess it doesn't hurt to do so. Okay, I figured that's what it would do, because that is the entire... Can we do that? Alright, yeah, that doesn't help. Which is expected. $2, $1. How do you work with the entire thing? Analyzes your action code chunk and attempts to locate all your whatever and whatever references in there and barks a hairball. Yells at Jason compile time with a big fat error message if you do. Are the wildcarded ones and will be rewritten to equivalent BNF rules. You may nest these constructs. The parenthesized group is also recognized and will be unrolled unless there is a label attached, another typo. In that case, it's rewritten. So be aware that a little change like that can play havoc on your action code. I think YY text is actually what we want here though. We'll collect all its terms, values, YY text as producer by the lexer and store it in an array, thus constructing a poor man's AST. So now we're back to here, and now we can try to figure out how this works. Which becomes, and if they've gotten their, you know what, you can go in here. Let's put this dock to the bottom. Sure, the right works too. Let's take this little bit of text. Is that a table? I don't want to deal with that though. Okay, never mind. I was gonna edit this and turn it into a pre, but this seems like more trouble than it's worth. You go all the way up to here, but then you'll have all this stuff here. No, that's not worth it. But what I can do is I can take this and then copy it over to a text editor, and we get the same thing. There. A subrule option 0 choice, subrule option 0 nil, subrule option. Where are your actions? I need the actions. What's the CSS that makes a pre? Pre could apply to P, I guess. So pre is no white space, so no wrapping, and then also monospaced. In which case, this already looks monospaced, and it looks like it's probably already pre. Sorry, not wrapped. No, this is wrapped. Not that it matters in this case, but I don't know. I kind of just wanted to set it aside from the other text, but it looks like the other text is already monospaced, so but okay, that's fine. This doesn't have any actions anyway, so it's kind of useless for us. Maybe enough rewriter is smart enough to see that there's only one term in this one. Big fat warning. So we go back to our example. So maybe it is white text, because this gets us... What does this do? Valid sentences includes this, that, and then that. May as well see what YY text does. Probably not what we want. That's what I thought. How do you collect this? Nope. Don't want to deal with that. Does this even come with Elixir? Wait, what is this? Wait, this doesn't even have any actions though. It is surprisingly terse, yes. Classy. None of these have actions. Why would we need to... Why are we writing actions? I need something with the E, B, and F. Or maybe we just fix it and not do that and try to figure out how to write this in proper B and F form. Because E, B, and F is kind of lazy. I say that because I don't want to figure this bit out. But it should be possible to express this as like just regular B and F. I can close this one now. By the way, if you could try writing :WQ in chat, I wonder if that works. I do remember having something set up for that, but I've never actually tested it. Yeah, so going back to this. Aha. So the user doesn't work, but the rest of it does. Increments. Didn't show up on your chat. It show up in it shows up on my chat. And it shows up in, it looks like it shows up on stream. Weird. One of these days I'm gonna have to have a bot testing stream to see if anything works. And then maybe how to fix them. Because Stream Elements, their bot is a lot more, I think, optimized for Twitch. And obviously we're not on Twitch. Well, maybe it's, maybe it got removed on... No, it still shows up in Top Chat. Interesting. Actually, I think the stream is using Top Chat. But anyway... We have increments. Which is fine. We have a terminal here. So this is an increment. Ah, yeah, that would do it. You know, interestingly, I haven't seen at least the streamers that I frequent, except for Idle. Idle does it a lot. For periodic ads. Most of the streamers that I follow don't. The VTubers anyway. And Idle is the only one that has the periodic. If you want to tip without... if you want to tip here, and not have to eat up so many bees or whatever, then do it there. Yeah, Poco and Connie. I watched more Poco than Connie. I haven't seen Poco a lot though. I can't remember if it's because of time zones or if it's because of content. I follow Roka a lot too though. Poco, I remember, plays Tetris. And I did, I think, join in for one of their games. Around this time. Interesting. There might be content. Is he streaming right now? Poco Raccoon. No, she's not. Our next stream is... Should just go to Holodecks for this one, actually. 8 hours. I just finished a donathon, I see. I didn't attend this one. I attended, I think I attended every one of the donathons for Gen 1 and then didn't for anyone else. No, I think I might have attended Rito's as well. Ah, she's sick, okay. Makes sense. I feel like a lot of people have been getting sick these days. Okay. Increment. This should not be ambiguous. So let's start with 1. How long have you been following Idol, by the way? Right, so that wasn't actually the problem. It was... blank. We have a blank here, empty. And we have increments here. And then it was $, $1 plus $2. Technically before Rito joined, but only properly since Gen 2. Okay. I don't get it. What was it? I started off, I was there starting from Rin's debut onwards. Rin caught my attention. And then I didn't know about Idol before Rin's debut, because somebody posted in a server, mentioned that she was British, and then I hopped in. But they didn't post anyone else's. What am I looking at? Rin the Shorts Queen. Yeah, that one was unexpected. Even she wasn't expecting them to blow up like that. I have an idea for one short. And then maybe the Q&A stream tomorrow might spawn a couple more. But it requires me... The one short idea that I have requires me to sit down and actually record it. And I'll also figure out what to do with the visuals for that. So I haven't done it yet. Conflict and grammar, multiple actions possible, and look ahead token is EOF. In state 2. Reduced by rule increments to nothing. Shift token. Increments to nothing. Okay, no, that makes sense. Because you do need this one. So it's either one increment or it has multiple increments. But we already tried this earlier. So we can get 1. Well, actually this is wrong. This is closer to what we want. I'm just missing 1 wa. Don't know why, but really strong British accents filter me. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I find maybe it's the difficulty. No, I mean if you're accustomed to, I don't know how accustomed you are to like American accents, because what was it? You know, for me, like the default accent is American Canadian, and then British is non-default. And then obviously any stronger accent than that would be, I don't know if I'd say necessarily harder to listen to, but it's a lot more. I'm trying not to use the word exotic. Close to reality for you. Yeah, I can see that. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. This is good. And actually, this is why we're missing one. We can just leave this off, actually. And this is actually no longer empty. I think this is what we want. Wait. We still have conflicts. But it's producing what we want. Operation increments with look ahead. EOF. Increments. So operation increments and some sort of look ahead. Does this need to be first? It's possible that this has to be first. Which means this will be irrelevant once we get the rest of them like that. It shouldn't be. I don't think the order matters too much. Okay, so it's not that. Might be missing something, but don't we want the opposite of this? Of course, yeah, so yes and no. I do want it to be two ways. So I wanted to do this direction first because I still don't know the program, right, JSON. And BF's grammar is a lot easier than Awa's or awafudge. But the second reason why I wanted to do this is that if you can go from BF to awafudge, it means that you have some known good programs that you can test the other direction with. So if we can convert from BF source to awafudge source, then we can see we can try to convert the awafudge source from there and compare it to the original BF source. And if that's good, if it matches, then we know it's correct. But you're right. I think you would normally think it would be the other way around, which we will eventually get to. This is definitely not a one stream thing. I'm hoping this particular direction is not going to be multiple streams. Hopefully we can catch up, or yeah, hopefully we can wrap this up today. But if we're getting conflicts, it might be difficult. This shouldn't be... I know this is possible to do without being ambiguous. Shift token increments. So you start off with the program, you have operations in the EOF. Now, operations is either nothing, or you have a recursive operations and an operation. But if you make this right recursive instead. Well, we tried this earlier. Yeah, that's what I thought. Now we get even more conflicts. because it has to be left recursive. So why don't we do this? And we still end up with that, and I don't know how to resolve that. So either we reach for E, B, and F and try to figure out how to resolve the repetition, or we figure out how to B and F left recursive grammar. So we don't even need B and F on that, we just need left recursive grammar. Left recursion. I think we're looking at LLR parsers. LR parsers? LALR is what we're looking at. LALR parser. Look ahead, left to right, rightmost derivation. Part of the compiling process where human readable text is converted to computer instructions. Invented the LR parser, rightmost derivation. So it's less powerful than the LR parser, more powerful than the SLR. Same production rules. So E, big K. Yeah, Donald Knuth. I have I think it was the person who wrote, what was it, the art of programming? Art of computer programming. My dad has the first few books, and I have the newer volumes, I think. I haven't read them though. Two states emerge, one state. LALR. This one state has conflicting actions. Reduce conflict. The above and will be declared ambiguous by an LALR parser generator. Conflicts will be reported. KNR. KNR is no, isn't KNR for like C? Yeah, it was Kernighan and Ritchie. It was, yeah, it was someone else. An LR parser will create two different states, neither of which is ambiguous. To recover this ambiguity is resolving by choosing E, because it occurs before F in the grammar. However, the resultant parser will not be able to recognize the valid input sequence BEC, since the ambiguous sequence EC is reduced to E rather than correct F to E, but BEC is not in the grammar. Okay. So what this tells me is that maybe we do this. I don't think this helps though, because that's basically the same thing as what we had, it's just we changed it out for something else. Oh, no. That's equivalent. That's what I thought. That's equivalent. That doesn't help. Yeah, it doesn't like double empties. But we don't have any double empties here. We have this increments. Like we have one increment, and then it says look ahead is ambiguous because... Oh. Because we have operations and operations. So what happens is we get a plus here and a potential plus over here. So it doesn't know if it needs to, if it's part of this or if it's going to be part of this. I see. That's where the ambiguity is. How do we tell it to be greedy? What if we do that? I don't think that's going to resolve anything, because it's still the same thing. Okay, so what if we instead do it like what the other one did, simple operation. So if we remember what we had in this one, wherever it was, it had a loop instruction, simple instruction, and then a loop instruction here. And then it had this stuff. Oh no, but that's not going to work. Because you have a simple instruction and then an instruction. You still end up with the same ambiguous grammar there. I tried YY text earlier. It's YY text looks like it takes whatever was the input, so that's not really going to help. Dyson EBNF. Let's try this. I'm not the only one having issues with this. If one and children are push one contain an array of all elements but no character data, and there's no answer. Yeah, okay, so BNF greedy. No, I don't want the Perl regex. Term or expression. Factor, factor, term. Atom, meta character. BNF sections. Term, expression. Expansion, expansion. Or expansion, name terminal. No, I don't want to go to these. I haven't installed an ad blocker on this browser. What even is this? Hold up. That's a medical thing. Or formulary something. Okay. EBNF parsing XML. EBNF parser. Dyson helpers. May as well look at the helpers and see what we have here. Deprecated. I don't want to look at that. In order to have something decent to work with in your action code, every wildcard or non-wildcarded group, which is not unrolled, will collect all of its terms values YY text as produced by the lexer and stored in an array, thus constructing a poor man's AST. Subrule option 0. With choice. So this entire thing here, that's optional. So we want groups to collect more stuff. It's not. I don't think that's the issue. Because if we do, for example, if we do this, we had increments here, right? Increments plus, and then we do the $1 as before. The problem is that each of the instances. No, parse. What do you want? Each of the instances ends up getting its own version, which is not what we want. I'm gonna figure out where this is failing. No, I do not want to close that. Okay, to go find your thing again. It's up in here somewhere. This one, the NPX one. I'm gonna go down to source and try again. Could not parse JSON grammar because... and it doesn't tell me. Is it because the plus is not a thing? What did I do? Okay, so I know this is good. This is not good. Because I left this in, that's why. Okay, so now I can do this plus here. Oh no, I already did require. So it's P plus. Right, so this works. Multiple ones don't. Can we do something like increments and increments plus so it separates the initial A from the rest of the was? No, so every plus gets a wa, and then we stick an A on top of it. The groups, the way it seems to be working right now is that each individual repetition ends up getting an element, which is not what we want. It seems to be considered as a single. It gets put into one of these, I guess? Is that how that works? Let me make this $1. Hello, welcome in. Yeah, you definitely use this as a work session if that helps. We're just trying to figure out why this code isn't working. But there was also this, right? The @ sign. I don't know what this @ sign does. Oh, sorry. Am I creating my own esolang? Yes, so there is a specification. It is, if I can find that screenshot again. I don't know why I closed it. Long story short, there's a specification based on another language, and it's not a trivial substitution, so I have to write stuff for it. But the goal is to turn this into this, and we're having trouble with that. We're using a tool called JSON, which is a JavaScript version of of another tool called Bison, and that is a compiler which basically generates a parser for inputs. So it creates a program to parse some text. Why don't you document this @ sign? Oh, because it's here, okay. As described in preceding sections, the traditional way to refer to any semantic value or location is a positional reference, which takes the form $n, $, @n, or @$. However, such a reference is not very descriptive. Moreover, if you later decide to insert or remove symbols in the right-hand side of a grammar rule, the need to renumber such references can be tedious and error-prone. This assumes that you know what the @ sign is. Or maybe @ sign is equivalent to $. Symbols, terminals, non-symbols. Literal tokens do not work in Yak. Sure. Empty rules and recursive rules. A rule is called recursive when its result non-terminal also appears on its right-hand side. Nearly all Bison grammars need to use recursion, because that is the only way to define a sequence of any number of a particular thing. Since recursive use of that is the leftmost symbol on the right-hand side, we call this left recursion. By contrast, that's indirect or mutual recursion. Okay. I realize I can't actually see that. Keep forgetting. Empty rules. If its right-hand side is empty, means result short. Empty directive allows to make explicits, which, sure. It's not work with Yak or incompatible. POSIX Yak is customary to write a comment like that with no component. That's what we're doing. Bison parser algorithm. Look at tokens. Tuning LR. Reduce conflicts. Two or more rules apply to the same sequence of inputs. Serious error in the grammar, for example, is an erroneous attempt to define a sequence of 0 or more word groupings. We got a sequence, a maybe word, empty, sequence word, and the maybe word is empty and word. Errors and ambiguities, a counterexample generation would demonstrate there is more than one way to parse a single word into a sequence. Okay, can you tell me how to fix that? Choosing the rule appears first in the grammar, but it is risky to rely on this. Must be studied and usually eliminated. Here's a proper way to define sequence. There's empty, sequence, and the word. Here's another common error that yields a reduce conflict. You know, a sequence, left recursion with the words and the redirects, empty words, redirects. The intention here is to define a sequence which can contain either word or redirect groupings. The individual definitions of sequence words and redirects are error-free, but the three together make subtle ambiguity. Even an empty input can be parsed in infinitely meaning ways. Consider nothing at all. So this is the situation that we're in. Nothing at all could be words, or it could be two words in a row, three or any number. It could equally be redirects or two or any number. Two ways to correct these rules. First, to make it a single level of sequence. Okay. Second is prevent either words or redirects from being empty. This is what we did though. So yes, word can be parsed as single words composed of two words. Now a shift reduce conflict. It can be addressed with precedence directives. Okay. So we actually do need to end up doing that then. Alright. So it sounds like what I said that we probably didn't need to deal with, we actually do end up needing. This is a greedy hint, indeed. So now I gotta figure out what to do with this. Left-right token invalid. Can you tell me what to do with that? Where was the tab earlier? I'm gonna pin this one. To this end, we use the same techniques as exposed above. See using precedence for non-operators. One solution relies on precedences. Use prex to give a lower precedence to the rule. Okay. Another solution relies on associativity. Provide the token and the rule with the same precedence, but make them right associative. Okay. I guess it doesn't really matter if it's right associative, I think. Because it's all the same. No, it does matter a little bit. Because it needs to be left associative. But you need it to be right associative for it to not be ambiguous. sequence empty, sequence forward redirect. But okay, let's give that a try. Relies on precedence. Is used prec to give a lower precedence to the rule. Maybe we can work with precedence first. Do we put it here? Call it operations. And so then we can get this as prec op repeat. And then maybe this will do it. Aha! No conflicts. 1, 2. Let's fix this. Increments. No conflicts because we got rid of it. Because we just didn't end up using the rules. So let's put that back in and hope we get... okay. That's fine. So we do still have conflicts. Maybe we need to do this. Relies on associativity, provide both the token and the rule with the same precedence, but make them right associative. Was the one above viable too? I was hoping it would. But I wonder if I just don't know how to use it. Maybe it's this actually. Maybe we need to put this in here. Up here, not down there. Above that one, third from last. So this is what we did over here so that we don't have an empty. However, we run into this problem here where it's ambiguous how you, so in this case we have our increment, our pluses. You don't know whether it, say we have 2 pluses, or you don't know if it's part of this plus, so you have a plus and plus here, or if you parse it as just 1 increment and then the next operation is another plus. So that's where the ambiguity there is. You don't know if it's 1 increment or if it's 2 operations. And so this is the shift reduce conflict that we have. And apparently that's with precedence directives, or resolved with precedence directives. Conflict in grammar. Reduce by rule, shift token. So this is shift reduce. States with conflict is that. So let's have a look at this start expression. Do we need to give a start symbol? I don't think we need to give a start symbol. Okay, that's fine. So write precedence for increments, or I guess we can left shift, right shift. What else do we have in this one? Actually, I can just take this. No, 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 I have caps lock on. Don't do that. I still need that. That. And I can just get rid of loop and get rid of this and change that over to increments. Okay. I wonder if that'll work. Precedence for non-operators. Using properly precedence and associativity. That's weird English. It's correct, but can help fixing shift reduce conflicts. What? That do not involve arithmetic-like operators. For instance, the dangling else problem can be solved elegantly in two different ways. If, in the present case, the conflict between the token else willing to be shifted... Oh no, these are tokens. Okay. So these are tokens, then this needs actually to be... plus minus... one of these. This. Maybe that'll be good enough to work. Of course it isn't. What else? Good, both tokens, same precedence associativity is used to solve the conflict. To preserve the action, use right associativity. Neither solution is perfect, however, since Bison does not provide so far scope precedence, both force you to declare the precedence of these keywords with respect to the other operators in your grammar. Therefore, instead of being warned about new conflicts, you would be unaware of shift reduce. Why is that worded that way? Due to if test then 1 else 2 plus 3 being ambiguous, the conflict will already be fixed. Does that mean anything? I didn't grab anything from that. But then, if this is the case, then we don't need anything down here. Prec U minus. Yeah, I think that means we don't need the prec in here, because there's nothing there. I can close this bit now. Why are you still conflicting? So I already have right precedence for each of these. MT sequence word redirect precedence sequence word. Let's go back to what we had before, where we just had the precedences. So our precedence is repeat first and then the operation. And then we have a precedence of our operations. And then we have our precedence of here. And then maybe we need to have these on all of them. Worth a shot. Yeah, Vim Surround is a nice plugin to do similar things to do that. One of the plugins that I absolutely cannot live without. But yeah, I guess I didn't really think about that, because you could do, if you already had it all like this, you just do that, and then, oh no, I don't want to go all the way up there, and then do that. Would have been possibly faster, or not, I don't know. YSL. Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. Do I have Vim repeat on this? I should have that. Interesting. Yeah, for a lot of things, I forget about the specific I don't want to say the specific motions, because I know some of the motions, but I tend to select first, go into visual mode, and then surround everything. Yeah, it doesn't have spaces, which makes things a little bit more difficult. What do we... Oh yeah, no, yeah, because it'll just surround it all with question or with quotes and then not have spaces in between, which means you have to do extra processing anyway. What am I looking at here? So we have a precedence of this. Yeah, those combinations are absolutely very useful. I think I've used it a couple times while we're doing this too. I use I more than A, I think. Why don't we... Sequence words must be resolved as a shift. How do you use the precedence? So it links us back to shift reduce conflicts. Oh, wait a minute. No, this is a different page. Why do you not link to shift reduce? Suppose we were parsing a language that has if then else statements with a pair of rules like this. Here, if then and else are terminal symbols for specific keyword tokens. While the else token is read and becomes a look-ahead token, the contents of the stack, assuming the input is valid, are just right for reduction by the first rule. It's also legitimate to shift the else because that would lead to an eventual reduction by the second rule. Since the parser prefers to shift the else, the result is to attach the else clause to the innermost if statement, making these two inputs equivalent. But if parser chooses to reduce when possible rather than shift, the result would then be attached to the else clause. Okay, sure. Conflict exists because grammar as written is ambiguous. Established conventions that these ambiguities are solved by attaching the else clause to the innermost if statements, which is what Bison does. To assist the grammar author in understanding the nature of these conflicts, counterexamples. I do not need you to generate counterexamples. I know what we're working with. Legitimate shift reduce conflicts. You can use the expect end declaration. There will be no warning as long as the number of shift reduce conflicts is exactly n. That feels like a hack. As they say, don't recommend the use of expect. And it tells us to use precedence directives, which gets us back here. Which then that's just a link loop. You don't tell me how to actually fix this. There's a sequence of words, a sequence of redirects. So this is more or less the same one we have. So you tell me you have the precedence of words. Okay, so we're going to copy down a bunch of these things. The ones that we don't need right now. That'll be everything except for increments. And the rest I think we can just leave out there. I think this one is actually necessarily ambiguous, so I need to add another one. Okay, we still have conflicts, that's expected, because we had conflicts here. Do I need this on both of them? Apparently not. Reduce by rule, shift token, then go to state 9. Another solution relies on associativity. Provide both the token and the rule with the same precedence, but make them right associative. Provide both the token and the rule with the same precedence. Okay, actually. So I still need... I no longer have precedence rules? Is that what that means? You know what I realized? I'm gonna just copy the stuff from here too. Go back there. And try this again. Precedence word, precedence redirect. Like that. Should I be using both? No. Can't be writing ambiguous grammars. I mean, we could just leave it at that, because I think this will actually work. Like, this clearly works the way we want it to. Right, because we got rid of it. But, I'd rather not. I'd rather write a proper grammar file, because otherwise we're opening ourselves up to bugs. Crazy thought, what if we put it here? Oh, I still have conflicts. What am I looking at? Man. Shift reduce conflicts bison. Redundant non-terminals are because you have two non-terminals exist only together. Dangling else. Bison does the right thing by design always for shift over reduce. Problem with this solution is still end up with a warning about shift reduce, and it's hard to distinguish between okay conflicts and newly created not okay. Expect declaration. Use precedence declarations, which is what we expected to. Big terminal needed for prec. Precedence else. In your case, it would look something like this. Prec T then. Alright, you still can't read this. And then I'm going to get rid of the necessary cookies only, fine. Precedence declaration is only available with Bison 3 onwards. Fix the grammar. It is actually possible to make an unambiguous grammar, but it is a bit of work. So this is ideally what we would want to do. Express this by dividing statements into matching statements and non-matching statements. That sounds like a lot of work. Because non-matching statements, I think, would require us to say increments and then possibly something that doesn't match increments. Where all if are matched by else and non-matching statements. In C, there are other compound statements which can end with the statements. Also have matching and non-matching versions, depending on whether the final statement is matching or non-matching. Token. Boolean expressions. Bottom up. Parser generator not necessary to remove left recursion. Prefer left recursion. Left recursive grammars are usually more accurate and easier to read. Should always use left recursion because it can parse a sequence of any number of elements with bounded stack space. So what I'm reading from this is that precedence is the correct way to do this. JSON precedence. But does JSON support it? It should, because I saw a prec in there somewhere. Prec will only set the precedence of the rule, not on all individual tokens. So if the individual precedence of the tokens on the right-hand side of the rule still matters, so setting prec on your multiplication rule will not alter the precedence of the star symbol, while precedence tries to resolve conflicts. It will compare the reduce actions priority with the priority of the token that is to be shifted. Since star has no priority, the grammar becomes ambiguous with the change. That was the change there. We go back to the calculator. Oh. I'm looking at this wrong. Hold up. Actually, it doesn't matter because I have right precedence on this one. But I think... Is it least to greatest precedence? Is that what this is? But it shouldn't matter. Like, even if I have conflicts here and I have precedence rules. You know what? We're gonna live with this for now. And later on, maybe we can actually fix it. Which we will, I think, have to fix it for going the other way. Yeah, the answer in the bottom was rewrite the grammar. Except that requires a way more verbose, because it requires you to create matching and non-matching versions. Which means if we were to create a non-matching version, right, we would have increments and then everything else that isn't in increments following it afterwards. It's on the other answer too. Probably in here somewhere. One of the tabs. Shift, go to states. Yeah, I think I lost the tab somewhere, but yeah, rewriting it means that for every token here, like we do a left shift, for example, and then is that how that works? The second one I was on. This one? This one? So now this one has a fix the grammar. On the replies, I want to hear. You basically have to rewrite the grammar to allow this, a non-trivial matter. You can't simply remove the star in the rule set of precedence. This will cause conflicts. Prec won't solve your problems with this. By the way, there's no better way to say thanks than output or accept answer. Yeah. I'm not rewriting the grammar here because that is a lot of work and that's incredibly verbose, and I think there should be a way to do it without it. I'm gonna get rid of this this stuff here. Precedence, I think, should be able to fix it. I don't know why it isn't. Although I do recall now that I did say that there should be a way to rewrite the grammar so that we wouldn't have to rely on this, which is not untrue. But yeah, just to entertain the thought, I think what we would have to do is something like so we have MT, we have operations, and then operation. So for example, we would have to do like left shift, right shift, and one for every one of those, I think. Is that right? Yeah, I think we would have to do that. And then something, you still end up with some ambiguity here. But it would be something like operations not including increments, and then you have increments here. And that sounds like a big hassle to have to do. So I'm not doing that. I think we're just gonna have to live with this ambiguity. And we're gonna have to do it for all of them. Unless we can figure out the EBNF stuff, which I might end up having to, might end up trying off stream because it seems like it should be possible to do something with. But I can't see it, at least right now. They're just playing around with it. It doesn't seem like it. So left shifts is same thing, left shift, or left shifts with the left shift. Surely there's a way to do this more succinctly. We can copy this and do that same for right. So increments, decrements. No, that's not what you want. Seems highly inefficient. Okay. Then you have inputs. Then you have outputs. Somewhere in the docs it said you have to have EBNF to enable it. Not sure if you applied to that already. Do we? Are you talking about the JSON docs? Oh. Okay. Well, I guess we can try that. Because if so, then we don't need to do all of this. Where do we put this? This is the one that had EBNF. Where's the one that had EBNF? Oh, it was this one. Okay, so it was before that. So, increments plus. Oh, actually, it's just increments. And we comment all these out because they're still contributing to the rules. You didn't have a conflict before. I feel like this wasn't quite the same. that right? No, we can just leave it as that. This wasn't what we did before. Conflicts. Look aheads. How do we get it earlier? Where we didn't... There wasn't an increment star. No, of course not, because that's ambiguous. Oh, right. Okay, no, that makes sense. Because before, when we didn't have EBNF... Yeah, that makes sense. So before, when we didn't have EBNF, it was looking for one of these. I don't know what the plus does in this one, actually. But that makes sense, because this is no longer... This is an individual one. And it does multiple individual operations, and it had that. Okay. It doesn't make sense for it to be a literal plus, because otherwise then it wouldn't match. So it must be doing something. But then after we have EBNF, it matches as we expect it to, and now it actually is ambiguous. Okay. So the EBNF doesn't actually solve our issue, because it's still ambiguous. Although, what EBNF allows us to do is keep our grammar a little bit shorter. Because it allows us to do then this. Left shift is... plus $1 plus that. We'll look at this again. No, it's the right shift that does that. So no on the right shift. But before that, let's give this one a try. Just the increment there. I know there are conflicts. That's not quite the way you want it. Like that. Nice. Yes, it is stringifying the array. So what happens is, if you stringify an array, by default, it adds in the commas. 2, 3, 4. So like that. So to get rid of that, you want to do a .join with the empty string. And that'll join all the elements without any commas. It looks like $1 is an array. .join, yes, so .join comma is implicit. Okay. Then we can actually do the same thing with this one, and we can get rid of all of these. I mean, you have to choose one behavior or another, right? Like, it's probably sane to have commas, but I do feel like I do this a lot. It's probably better to be explicit anyway. Plus dot join empty plus tilde. Okay. Even after this, we're not even going to be done yet. Is there some edge case that we have to deal with? Can I just... yeah, I'll just dot that. $1. This doesn't fit on the web as much since it might be shown to users. Yeah... I guess. I feel like you either do that or have commas, but also the brackets, so you know it's array. Like, even if you show it to users though, right? Normally you'd have a space in between. Or at least for it to look readable, you'd probably want a space in between. But then again, languages might not be using spaces like that. Do I even actually need these semicolons? Inputs stays as is. So actually these can go. We don't need those because that's all implicits. Input plus can probably stay the same. Actually no, because it... Let's see what it looks like without this, because I might not need that. And then there's a loop. A loop we will deal with afterwards. All those conflicts, look at that. So that still works. One, two, three, four. Okay, so we do still need to join them. Unfortunately. And you know, we could have been using this syntax this whole time. Oh well. And then the loop. And then I guess we can join here too. So for the loop, instead of 2, remember what the grammar looks like. The loop turns into this. So this is dot. So it this. I need a plus there. And I can get rid of these as well. So that's looking like an awafudge program. That's not right. I need to join these ones too. And I am going to remove all these redundant parentheses. It's starting to bother me a little bit. $1. I do need it for this one though. Yeah, I forgot to get rid of one of these precedences. Okay. So this gives us a bare bones transpiler rather. There are still a few things that this doesn't handle, but that does look like a valid awafudge program, and it should error out if we do that. Okay, good. Okay, well, what else can we do here? It's if we can get rid of anything that's not one of these 8 characters. Actually, we should commit first. What do we do? Other than just make it work. Translate plain to awafudge. Sure. We can come up with better commit names, but yeah, so in this case it's going to be not just S+, it's going to be anything that isn't one of these characters. And then we need the caret in there. So the original language, what it does is it's oops, white space. It ignores anything that's not one of the 8 characters. And so hopefully this is what that does here too. Ignore non. Do I need a semicolon? I guess I don't. Okay. Hopefully this works. And that part is going to be a little bit harder for awafudge, I think. Yeah. I guess it doesn't particularly matter because it's going to end up ignoring them anyway. But I think this makes it a little bit more efficient. So some random characters here, some spaces there, more characters there. Aha. Parse error line 1, expecting EOF dot some bracket because it's unbalanced. There we go. We've ignored other characters. You know what? I think this is probably good enough. We have a transpiler here. Some improvements are, if you look at the original code that I wrote for awafudge, you have all these spaces here. And I think perhaps with a post processor, we could probably make that work. I think all we have to do is see if we have a string of question marks or exclamation marks or something, and put space afterwards, and then if there are any spaces, and probably the tildes too, and any spaces between 2 A's or something like that, wherever it is that it's ambiguous, we'd want to do that. But I think we can deal with that in post-processing rather than in here. Maybe we could do it in here. But that also sounds like extra rules, and I don't want to deal with that. Because this is pretty short. And it's kind of nice how short it is, which you would expect from a pretty simple grammar. Awafudge is not going to be this simple, I think. It might be, we'll see. But that'll be for another stream. I think what we're going to do is we're going to create a JSON file for awafudge next time. And then after that, we maybe in the next stream, or the same stream, depending on how long it takes, we can make it nicer and then put it up on a web page somewhere. But first, we commit this. And then I'm going to push this up to a repo after the stream as well. Ignore characters. Skip non-BF characters during lexing. Okay. That's that. I didn't get a chance to create a repo on GitHub. Is that safe to do on stream? I'm going to do that off stream. Right after this. So that is that. We now have a BF to awafudge transpiler. One that isn't very optimized or very good, but it is valid. And yeah, next time we'll work on the other stuff. Tomorrow's stream is a Q&A session to celebrate 1 month. So if you haven't already, there is a form. You gotta go look for that actually. So there is a form for you to submit questions. So definitely do submit your questions there. Dig up the link for you in a little bit. Already got eight questions, and do keep them coming, because the more questions we have, the more answers you get out of me. Only got 9 questions now. But yeah, alongside that, we're also going to be playing K-Jumping Cube, one of the games that I mentioned during debut. And so hopefully with a combination of questions and K-Jumping Cube, it'll be a lot of fun. I think that's that. Is there anything else? I can talk about Friday's stream tomorrow. Yeah, no, I think that's it. So yeah, I'll push this up after the stream. And you can play around with it if you like. And then, yeah, if you end up doing anything with it, post it in Discord. Or on Twitter with the hashtag. You know what? I don't actually have a programming hashtag. We'll figure that out at some point. But yeah, you can post it in the Discord. And if you aren't in the Discord, the link is in the description. I hope you see you there. Yes, that's it. All right. Thanks everybody for coming. Hope you learned something. I certainly did. And I gotta get better at the endings. All right. Good night, everyone. See you next stream.
you.